To start this Valentine's Day makeover, I always start with the brows. So I just kind of brush her hairs in place, kind of see the direction that they're growing in and what I'm working with. So I'm using our Exquisite Looks brow brush to brush her brow hairs. Then I go in with the Exquisite Looks brunette brow pencil, and I'm just kind of overdrawing her brows a little bit in order to get the shape I want. So I'm going to overdraw them because I'm going to perfect them with concealer later. So that's what I'm doing here, just kind of overdrawing her brows. I love the brunette pencil because it's very soft and creamy, easy to use, and it lasts all day. And it's like the perfect shade, the perfect brown shade for brows. So I feel like any woman of color could use this pencil and get away with it. I'll go in and overdraw the other brow. Just kind of filling in anywhere I need to fill in and overdrawing it because I'm really going to get it perfected, as you'll see with the concealer. So now I'm going to go in with the concealer. And this concealer is probably about a shade or two lighter than her skin tone. Normally, I only use this type of color under the brow, but I'm going to use it for under and above the brow. The trick to this is just really making sure that you blend it out quickly because you don't want it to dry and then you get that halo above the brows. And that's why usually when I do the top of the brow, I'll go in with a color that matches the skin tone. I'm just tracing the brows. And then I'm going to go in and clean it up. Now I'm taking a beauty blender and I'm just going to blend out that concealer. And I want to get the top blended out very quickly because I don't want it to dry and that light line to stay above her brow. And I'm blending it out. And then I'm going to go in with a little more concealer on her lids because I'm using the concealer as a base for the eyeshadow. So I typically don't use eyeshadow bases much unless I'm doing like a cut crease or an extreme eyeshadow look and I really want the colors to pop out. Usually I just use concealer. So I'm just going back in, looking at the brows again, kind of seeing what I need to fix. Now I'm taking the Exquisite Looks dark brown brow powder because I felt like she needed just a little bit more pigment in the brows, but I didn't want to go back in with the pencil, so I went in with the powder. I'm going in the other brow with that powder, just kind of filling in anywhere I feel like she needs a little bit more product in her brows. And I am kind of a perfectionist. I will perfect the brows a little bit more later as well. But I'm just trying to make sure I get the shape pretty close to what I want. And then as I get closer to completing the look, I will go back in and touch up a little bit later as well. Now I'm going in with her eyeshadow. I used a color close to her skin tone all over her lid because actually her eyeshadow was creasing just a little bit. Well, her eyelids were creasing a little bit, and her lids are just a little bit oily, and so just to make sure her eyeshadow doesn't move, I took a light color that's close to her skin tone and I'm kind of buffing it on the lid. before I go in with the colors I'm going to be using. Now I'm building up that color in the crease a little bit so that we can get ready for this look. The key is really blending. It does take a lot of blending, and I actually did a lot of blending with this look. I'm going to speed through it a little bit, but just so you know, you just want to make sure you blend a lot with eyeshadow so that you don't get any harsh lines and everything looks seamless. Then I went in with like a lighter brown shadow on her lid, and I'm just kind of almost using this as a base as well for the colors I'm going to be adding. Now I'm going in with a more defined crease brush with a little bit of a deeper brown in her crease so that I can kind of define her crease. So this brush is a little bit more tapered and small, and it allows you to really get in the crease area. The other brush I used before was more of a fluffier brush, and it dispersed the product a little bit more blended, and this is giving us a precise placement of the eyeshadow in the crease. This is just like a nice warm brown shade I'm using as a transition color. Then I'm going to go in with actually like this baby pink shadow that I thought was going to show up pink on her, but it actually showed up almost like beige looking. So I decided, because it showed up that way, I'm going to use it as more of a base color, and then I'm going to add a darker pink on top to achieve that baby pink I was going for originally. So I actually really end up playing with a whole lot of colors, but I'm using this eyeshadow brush from Beauty Blender to really pack on the eyeshadow on her lid, and I'm trying to concentrate that color to her lid. And it doesn't look pink on her at all. I'm going for a pink look, so I'm going to have to pull up another pink that has a little bit more pigment that's going to show up on her skin tone. So now this is a little bit of a deeper pink. I believe it's pinker that's in the Anastasia Jackie Ania palette. I actually use several palettes for this look. I'll list it in the notes. But yeah, definitely now you're starting to see the pink. So that's what I was going for originally. That first pink looked very pink in the pan, but sometimes that's, you know, on women of color, that's what happens. The pigment in our skin, sometimes colors don't show up as pigment as you would like, but this other pink mixed in with that first pink is giving me that light pale pink look I was going for her eyeshadow. And so I'm just kind of packing it on. And the thing is, if you notice, I'm packing that color on her lid because you want to pack and build up the color pigmentation, because if you like swipe it, then you're going to sweep away color. So I'm really trying to build up that pigmentation on her lid. Now here I'm going in with a little bit of a darker pink in the corner of her eye, and for some reason it just wasn't really giving me the pigmentation that I wanted. So I did take my time here and really build up this color on the outer corner on each eye. So that's what you'll see. I keep going back and forth, really trying to make sure the eyes are balanced and to get the pigment to really show up. And then I really wasn't happy with the pink, so I played with several different palettes, several different pink tones to really try to get the exact pink that I wanted to achieve on her eyes. So I used the Jackie Ania palette. I went back and forth with those pinks in there. Then I also used this Teddy Bear Too Faced palette that had a few pinks in it as well that I got over the holidays. And I'm just really, you know, packing the colors on, playing around with it, trying to really get that pigmentation that I want on her eyelids. So sometimes eyeshadow can be a little bit more of detailed work. If you want the look to, you know, to really pop and to have more of a detailed look, sometimes it takes a little bit of blending, and that's what I'm doing here. Just really blending and building those colors up. So I'll speed it up a little bit, but as you can see, I went in several times with several different pink colors, really trying to mix and blend colors to achieve the color I wanted. Now I'm blending like a brown shade in her crease. I'm just trying to bring everything all together. Now I'm going in with that Too Faced palette. It was like a blush color that was really pretty, and it ended up looking really nice on her eyelid. And it really gave me that color payoff I was going for. So I think when I got to this color, I was like, oh, I got it now, after like putting 5 different pinks on her eyes before I achieved the color I wanted. I really took my time blending the colors in and trying to be precise about placement and really, you know, getting the colors that I wanted to show up on her eyes. And my goal is really to make her eyes pop. Like, I really want them to pop. And if I'm honest, I probably could have went ahead and did a cut crease for as much as I went in with eyeshadow and the detail that I paid attention to. But I'm an old school makeup artist, and this is the way I'm used to doing it, really blending and building up the color that I want on the eyes. So now I'm going back in with the crease brush, trying to make sure everything is precise and clean and blended. I really wanted the center of her eyelid to pop, so that's why I keep going back in with this like pearlized pink shade that I found in the Too Faced palette. Once I'm finished, I go in with a clean brush just to blend everything in place. I'll speed this up a little bit, but I really take my time blending just to make sure everything is all blended perfectly together. Now I'm going in with some eyeliner. I'm just going in with a messy, smudgy eyeliner. It doesn't really have to be perfect. I kind of go in and just smudge it on the top of the eyelid. I like to do this especially when I am going to apply lashes, and she's definitely going to be wearing Exquisite Looks lashes today. So I wanted to go in close to her lash line, in between her lashes, with a nice creamy pencil. I think this is just like a Jordana one that I got from Walgreens. I love their eyeliner. It's only like $1.99, but it's like the best eyeliner. It's very creamy and easy to work with. And then I'm going to go on with the Exquisite Looks eyebrow brush, and I'm going to use it to blend out the eyeliner. So it has multi-purposes. You can use it for different things. I'm using this to blend the liner, and you could use it with like a gel liner as well. Like if you had a pot gel liner, you could use the Exquisite Looks brow brush for that as well. I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye. Just kind of smudging that eyeliner on in between the lash line. And go back and forth in between the eyes, just trying to really balance them out a bit. And go back in with the Exquisite Looks brow brush, just to make sure it's blended. Now the eyeliner is complete. I quickly clean up under her eyes. This is why I do the eyes first, because I do have a little fallout. So I'll go in real quick and just kind of clean up that eyeshadow that may have fallen on the face so that I can get ready for her skin. Now I'm going to go in with the Beauty Blender. I actually applied a little bit of her moisturizer. And I don't know why she opened her mouth like that. That was so funny to me. But I'm going to go back in with her moisturizer just to make sure that I reapply any moisturizer that was removed when I removed the makeup under her eyes. Now I'm going in with her foundation. Now Shayla has an interesting coloring. She's kind of neutral because this foundation is a little like yellow and it looks okay, but it's in the center of her face, but then the rest of her face is a little darker and she has a little orange in her face. So I feel like she's more neutral because she's like a good mix of them all, and you have to kind of get it right. So usually when I do her foundation, I kind of custom blend it. So I'll start off with this lighter shade, and then you'll see I'll kind of blend and go in with another shade as well. Just using a Beauty Blender to bounce the foundation into the skin. Now I'm going to go in with a darker foundation around her face a little bit, because if I don't, the original foundation I used will give her a little bit of cast. Like, it looked okay in the center, but she's a little darker around the rest of her face and it just won't blend together properly. So this is what I do so that I can get a nice custom blend on her. So I'm almost kind of using the darker shade to contour her face a little bit. And because this foundation is a little orange, it really cancels out the darkness around her mouth as well. And so I didn't go in with a corrector, but I did go in with that more orangier shade around her mouth. And it kind of cancel out the darkness. Now I'm going to go back in with the first shade, and I'm going to concentrate that shade more in the center of her face to bring everything all together, so that both colors kind of blend together seamlessly. And I feel like together both shades is her perfect shade, but they didn't have an in-between shade, so if you have that problem, you may have to use two colors like I did with her. And then I just kind of go in with some finishing touches with the Beauty Blender, just try to make sure that those shades come together and look seamlessly and nicely blended on her skin. Now I'm going to go in with some concealer. This concealer is only like one shade lighter. Shayla doesn't really like too much brightness under her eyes, and she doesn't like me to use too much concealer, so I usually start off with a little bit of product, and I don't go in with a really light shade at first. I usually just start off with one shade lighter than her skin tone, just to kind of brighten up the skin a little bit in that area, because that's really what I'm using this for. She's kind of young, she doesn't really have a whole lot of imperfections, so I'm really using this shade to really brighten the center of her face. Now I'm going in just in the inner corner of her eyes with a shade that's maybe like maybe 3 shades lighter, just to brighten a little bit, but I don't want to use too much of this, but I do want to brighten it a little bit more because I felt like that 1 shade lighter wasn't quite enough, but I don't want to use too much concealer, so I use very little. And as you can see, a little goes a long way because I'm really able to spread it quite far under her eyes. And I like to do this with a beauty blender. It makes it easy for me. You see how that just brightened up her face just a little bit? This gave me a little bit more brightness. Because this is a Valentine's Day look, I wanted her to have want it to be a little bit more glamorous than it was with just the 1 shade at first. So now I'm just going in on her waterline with a little bit of that eyeliner. Now I'm just going to blend a little bit of a brown eyeshadow that I used on her eyes in the beginning to blend out that eyeliner at the bottom, just to give it a little bit of a smokier look at the bottom of her eye, right below her waterline. So this brown is really close to her skin tone, but I'm just using it to smudge the black. And it's just like an eyeliner brush. I then decided to go back in with just a little bit more concealer, just to really perfect that smudging I did under there and to make sure I didn't have any eyeshadow where I didn't want it. Here I'm going in with a darker powder that I'm using to place everywhere I place that darker foundation. And I don't think I mentioned it before, but I went in with a little bit of a lighter powder everywhere I put that lighter concealer before going in with this powder as well. Now I'm taking that powder and I'm going to use it to really contour her nose. And just as a guideline, I kind of start in the crease of her eye and I just drag the brush down as a guideline. That way I get the placement exactly where I want it. And this is just a finishing powder that I'm using to kind of contour her nose. I'm taking a powder brush, just trying to brush away any excess powder that may be on the face and blend everything together. I'm going in with that pretty pink blush on her cheeks. And I added a little highlighter. It's like a champagne color. It comes off looking a little white, but then when you kind of blend it, it really gives a nice soft glow to the face. And I really wanted to bring a little bit of highlight to the tip of the nose, so that's what I'm doing with the brush. I'm going in with a nice pink lip color, because you don't always have to do red on Valentine's Day. I thought pink would be a great color for Valentine's Day as well. I love pink. This color, I believe, is a Too Faced color. I think it's called Bang and Snap, but I will list everything I used in the notes below. I felt like her eyeliner wasn't dark enough, so I did go in with a liquid liner just to make it darker. Now it's lash time. So now we got the lashes on. These are the Lori lashes, and you can find these at Exquisite Looks. I always go in, Shayla has really long lashes, so I always go in with a little bit of her mascara to blend up her lashes with the Fossies. Try not to get too much of the mascara on the lashes, just on her lashes, but not on the false lashes. I'm going to take a little bit of this mascara. She has really long bottom lashes, so I'm just going to use it on her bottom lashes as well. Now I wanted to brighten up her inner corner a little bit once I had the lashes on. So she has really sensitive eyes, so I try to stay as far away from the inner corner with her lashes as possible. And then I'm just going to brighten that area up with a little bit more of that pink eyeshadow. Then I decided to pop a little bit of glitter, not a lot, but just a little bit of glitter on her eyelid. This is like a nice iridescent glitter. I just want to pop on with my finger a little bit, just to give it a little bit more glam. So just take my finger and pop on that glitter. I forget the name of the company, but I'll list the glitter below. Now the look is almost finished, but I did want to go back in with the soft black brow pencil by Exquisite Looks to just make sure her brows were perfected, and I felt like in some areas it needed a little bit more pigment. So I don't like to use the black completely by itself, but I will use it for reinforcements at times. So I like to mix the two sometimes. I'm just taking our brow brush and blending the product through. I just went in real quick to do a little bit more detailed brow work. As I'm almost finished with the look, I saw a few things I wanted to perfect. I set everything in place with the Redo by Beauty Blender setting spray. Go in with the Exquisite Looks brow gel. So first I'm just going to brush her brows up and brush the gel through the brows. And this is going to help to hold the brows in place. This is a clear brow gel. I like it because it keeps the brows in place without making them hard. And this is by Exquisite Looks, and you can find all these products by Exquisite Looks on exquisitelooks.com. So I'm doing the same thing with the other brow, just kind of brushing it through. Setting the brows in place. I think she was feeling herself, and this is the finished look.